Is there anyone in chambers wishing to be heard concerning ordinance number 10-2010? Okay, hearing none, may we have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Sheridan and Ms. Arati and
Second.
everyone. Second. Capola, sorry,
Yes.
Mr. Capola.
That's okay.
My 2 ears were open, but I couldn't get them all in once, George. I'm sorry. Okay, on a roll call for closing the public hearing, Mr. Ferramas.
Aye.
Mr. Schleifer.
Aye.
Ms. Arati.
Aye.
Mr. Capola.
Aye.
And Mr. Sheridan.
Aye.
Now on adoption, be it resolved that an ordinance entitled, an ordinance of the Township Committee of the Township of Hanover, reducing the 2 cent per $100 of assessed valuation, dedicated open space trust fund rate to 1 cent per $100 of assessed valuation during calendar year 2010 only, and further authorizing the Township's Chief Municipal Finance Officer to collect the 1 cent dedicated tax, be passed on final reading, and that a notice of the final passage of the ordinance be published in the March 18th issue of the Hanover Eagle in accordance with law. Now, at this time, we have a motion for adoption.
So moved.
So moved by Mr. Sheridan,
Second.
second by Mr. Schleifer. On roll call for adoption, Mr. Ferramasco,
No.
Mr. Schleifer,
Yes.
Ms. Arati,
No.
Mr. Capola,
Yes.
and Mr. Sheridan.
Yes.
The ordinance is passed by a vote of 3 to 2, 3 in favor, 2 nays. And the final ordinance, ladies and gentlemen, for consideration of public hearing and adoption is docketed as ordinance number 11-2010. This amends and supplements the provisions of the regulations of the RM2 zone district in Chapter 166 of the Code, entitled Land Use and Development Legislation, in order to encourage the development of affordable housing. And this ordinance was published in the Star Ledger in the Monday, March 1st issue, in the Hanover Eagle in the issue of March 4th, and in the issue of the Daily Record on March the 2nd. We have notification that the Planning Board and Department of Planning and Development on the county level received the ordinance and has so certified its receipt. We'll also note for the record that all property owners within 200 feet were advised by certified mail of the public hearing this evening, and they all received a copy of the ordinance. Now, in accordance with the land use law, we have received a letter from the Planning Board. As you know, the Planning Board requires that it review and make a recommendation on all planning ordinances, zoning ordinances. So the following is the letter from the Planning Board, dated March the 11th. Dear Mr. Giorgio, at its March 9th, 2010 meeting, the Planning Board reviewed and discussed ordinance number 11-2010, which had been referred by the Township Committee as required by the Municipal Land Use Law at NJSA 40:55D-26A, which reads, and I quote, prior to the adoption of a development regulation, revision or amendment thereto, the Planning Board shall make and transmit to the governing body, within 35 days after referral, a report including identification of any provisions in the proposed development regulation, revision or amendment, which are inconsistent with the master plan, and recommendations concerning these inconsistencies, and any other matters as the board deems appropriate, end quote. Ordinance 11-2010 proposes to amend the RM2 zone regulations in order to permit a mixed-use project incorporating an affordable housing component. Ordinance 11-2010 is partially consistent with the master plan, in that the land use element of the master plan recommends that the property be zoned RM2, that the zone permit multifamily residential and limited office and institutional uses. The amendment, however, is inconsistent with the master plan, in that the land use plan does not specifically discuss mixed-use development, Although both non-residential and residential development are recommended for the zone, no standards for mixed-use development are included in the plan. And since the subject property is not included as an affordable housing site in the housing plan element, the board notes that it is not possible to perform an apples-to-apples comparison since the master plan does not include mixed-use development standards for the zone. However, the following comparison showing differences between the master plan standards for multifamily and office development and the standards in Ordinance 11-2010 are as follows. The master plan states the mixed use, it's not discussed. Ordinance 11-2010 says mixed use permitted. Master plan states maximum density, multifamily townhouses, 2.45 units per acre of site, plus adjacent lands in the adjacent public use zone to be dedicated for open space. The proposed ordinance states maximum density mixed-use affordable housing at 5 units per acre of the lot in question, but not exceeding 24 units. The master plan states minimum lot area, multifamily townhouses, 50 acres, offices, 5 acres. The ordinance proposes minimum lot area, mixed-use affordable housing, 5 acres. The master plan stipulates maximum building coverage for multifamily townhouses at 20% of lot area and offices at 7% of lot area. The ordinance proposes maximum building coverage for mixed-use affordable housing at 15% of lot area. The master plan states maximum improvement coverage for multifamily townhouses, 50% of lot area, and offices at 25% of lot area with 65,000 square feet. The ordinance proposes a maximum improvement coverage for mixed-use affordable housing at 15% of lot area. Concerning the inconsistencies resulting from the mixed-use development option, the Planning Board has the following comments. 1. At the time of adoption of the land use and housing elements of the master plan, the Board did not anticipate mixed-use development for the zone. The Board, however, has no objection to mixed-use development in appropriate locations and believes that the zone is such a location. The zone already contains both residential and non-residential development. Both residential and non-residential developments and zones abut the RM2 zone. 2. The Board believes that the mixed-use development standards proposed in Ordinance 11-2010 are appropriate for the zone. 3. The standards in the RM2 zone for single-use development, both residential and non-residential, are not being affected by Ordinance number 11-2010 and will remain consistent with the master plan. 4. The current housing plan, which does not include the RM2 zone, was based upon different affordable housing obligations and rules. The Board is currently preparing a new housing plan that will reflect current obligations and comply with current rules. The Board anticipates incorporating the RM2 zone as part of the revised housing element. The Board also notes that a revision to both the land use and housing plan elements of the master plan will be necessary in response to the revised third-round affordable housing obligations imposed by the state of New Jersey. Any inconsistencies between the master plan and Ordinance 11-2010 will be eliminated at that time. For these reasons, the Planning Board recommends the adoption of Ordinance number 11-2010 as introduced. Thank you for the opportunity to comment on Ordinance 11-2010. Signed, J. William Byrne, Chairman, on behalf of the Planning Board.